hope you're all doing well and taking care, and welcome to this brand new Doctor video on the channel. So I thought for today's video I would give my final full thoughts on the idea of the bi-generation, the bi-regeneration that was introduced in the finale of the 60th anniversary trilogy, The Giggle. So before I talk about my kind of negatives with the idea, because there is some stuff that is holding me back from 100% loving this idea, to be honest. But first, I want to start with the positives. The first one is that Shuigawa himself still made a phenomenal introduction as the 15th Doctor. I feel like he wasn't sidelined by the 14th Doctor or anything like that. It did feel like Shuigawa still had a brilliant introduction as his Doctor, and I especially loved the way that he interacted alongside the 14th Doctor. The way he supported the 14th Doctor, because obviously this is the 15th Doctor after the 14th Doctor, so he knows exactly how the 14th Doctor is feeling. And that was quite refreshing to watch, because normally with multi-Doctor stories, the way a lot of them work is, and this isn't a dig, they are very amusing to watch, but normally the formula is the Doctors make fun of each other in a kind of playful banter sort of way. So it was kind of nice to have this different approach to this multi-Doctor story, where for a change it was actually much more supportive between the new Doctor and the old Doctor, and I did really like that. My only question is, where exactly is the 15th Doctor in the timeline here? Because there is some speculation. Is this the 15th Doctor from that point of the regeneration, or is this the 15th Doctor from the future when David Tennant's Doctor actually regenerates, and this is just him being pulled back in time to this moment of the regeneration? We haven't yet got an answer from Russell T Davies on that, which is a bit frustrating, I'm not going to lie, but I know in the next Doctor Who magazine there is going to be a bit more information on this sort of idea, so hopefully we get a full breakdown then, because yeah, I really want to know, is the 15th Doctor from the point of the regeneration, or is he pulled from the future? I want to know. I have seen quite a few people say now that Ncuti's Doctor just feels like a clone Doctor, but I would have to personally really disagree on that, because from the moment he arrived, he felt like the Doctor. I think this is going to be a Doctor that's very outgoing. They're going to have a lot of energy. They're going to be very happy, which I feel like is the best way to go for this brand new era of the show. I really can't wait to see more of him. But also, we saw the regeneration process happen, and he isn't a clone. He's not the copy of the Doctor. He is the Doctor. It's just this time around there is two incarnations of the Doctor alive at the same time. It is something different. It is something unique we've not had before. It's going to take some time to adjust to, but personally I would have to disagree. Ncuti felt like the Doctor from the moment it arrived, and I really can't wait to see more of him in The Church on Ruby Road, which airs just in over a week's time. Moving on to the second positive point I have, and that is with the way that the 14th Doctor ended, because I do like the way that he ended up with his own family now, with both the Nobles and also Mel on planet Earth, and he can sort of just now semi-retire on Earth and just have that normal family life. That is very believable, because I feel like deep down the Doctor has always just wanted a family, but long term it always hasn't worked out, because either his friends have left him, or something's separated them, or something else has happened to split them up. But now the Doctor can just relax on Earth, and we see in that moment how happy the Doctor is, and I feel like that is very believable. I feel like the Doctor has deep down always just wanted a family. We've seen that especially with the Pawns, for example. The Doctor is just very happy when he's surrounded by people he loves. And again, I'm not saying the Doctor in the past has never had a family. Anytime they have a companion, they basically turn into the Doctor's family, really. It's just that long term, it's never really worked out for the Doctor. But now we get this sort of very happy ending where the Doctor is just able to have that normal family life on Earth, try it out properly for the very first time, and the Doctor looks very happy, and it is a really sweet moment to end on. I did like it. Okay then, so why am I not 100% in love with this idea? Well, I think it's two things really. The first is that for some reason, I just don't feel yet that I've got just 100% closure to the 14th Doctor. And I think that's probably because there's always a chance that the 14th Doctor's story, his era, isn't completed yet, and Russell could bring David back in the future. I know that Russell has said in interviews this week that he has no plans yet to bring David Tennant back, but it is always hard to take what showrunners say as 100% true because, for example, in his original era, after Rose Tyler left in Series 2, he was asked if Rose Tyler could return in the future, and Russell said definitely not. And then 2 series later, in Series 4, Rose Tyler finally did return. And Russell said that was always the plan, it's just he had to lie to the media in the meantime. And there is part of me that is wondering, is there sort of a Journey's End type of plan in play where maybe later on down the line, maybe near the end of Russell's second tenure as showrunner, maybe Russell does have plans to bring the 14th Doctor back for some sort of blockbuster ending finale to his era alongside the 15th Doctor again. I could definitely imagine that being the case, and maybe because of that, that is why I'm not getting the closure I want with the 14th Doctor yet. It might also just be because this isn't a traditional regeneration. This is very different, it's very new, and it might just be my fanned mind adjusting to that really. So that's the first thing. The second, this is the bigger one, is that on the commentary for The Giggle, Russell mentioned that an idea he has for this bi-regeneration is that it wasn't just the 14th Doctor that was affected. It was actually every Doctor, because Russell said when the Doctor bi-regenerates here, it happened with every single incarnation of the Doctor, which means that every incarnation from the past has also came back to life in a sort of parallel universe or alternative timeline. It's not 100% clear, but that is what Russell says, that basically every incarnation of the Doctor is brought back to life. So you have, you know, the first Doctor, he'll be back somewhere, the second Doctor, he'll be back somewhere, the third Doctor, he'll be back somewhere, etc, etc. And I'm not a huge fan of the idea, just because the Doctor, like, regeneration is really important. It's the sort of hang that's kept the show going for 60 years. It's, of course, it's a very sad moment when an incarnation regenerates, but it's also exciting because we get to meet a new incarnation at the same time, and it has been a big part of what has kept the show fresh for 60 years. And we've got to remember, this is the most important point, the Doctor is one person. Yeah, when they regenerate, their whole personality changes, their whole looks change, etc. But it's still the Doctor. The Doctor is still one person at the end of the day. And when the Doctor regenerates, they don't die. They just become the next Doctor, and it continues so on and so on. But this way of looking at it, where basically you could look at it as an incarnation doesn't die, they always come back and carry on forever. I get the idea behind it, because Russell said in the future this can make doing multi-Doctor stories even easier, because now you can just bring a Doctor back and you don't have to explain where they are in the timeline. If there is now an unlimited array of the Doctors out there, they always survive, they are always the Doctor. But it just doesn't really fit with me that well, because the Doctor is just one person, and I don't like the idea of when an incarnations die, well, not die, but when they regenerate, they don't really regenerate now, they just kind of reappear in the future in an alternative timeline sort of thing. It really is confusing. Russell really needs to give more of an explanation what he means here, but personally, I'm not a huge fan of it, just because I would prefer when an incarnation goes, that is them gone. They're not dead, it's just they have went into the next Doctor and they carry on forever and ever. That's kind of how the character has always worked. Like the 11th Doctor said in his regeneration speech, for example, the Doctor changes, but they're always the Doctor at the end of the day. And I just don't like this idea of looking at it as when an incarnation regenerates, they just appear in the future again in a sort of alternative timeline. It's very messy, and yeah, I'm just not the biggest fan of this idea, if I'm honest. Overall then, to answer the question, is the bi-generation, the bi-regeneration, a good or bad idea for the show? And I think it will depend on the future. If they leave the 14th Doctor alone, because don't get me wrong, I'm not saying I would dislike to see more of David Tennant, not at all, because I would love to see more of David Tennant. However, the potential impact from that is it could change the ending we got for the 14th Doctor, and I don't want his ending to be changed. That's exactly what happened with Rose Tyler for me, because I loved Rose's original ending in series 2 with Doomsday. It was a very moving ending, but then I didn't like the ending that she ultimately got later on in Journey's End. I just found that just didn't really wasn't as impactful as her original departure was, and I don't want that to happen with the 14th Doctor. I don't want him to come back in the future, he gets a new ending, but it's not as strong as his original ending that we got in The Giggle, if that makes sense. It also depends what you do with the bi-generation idea in general with the other Doctor aspects. We've seen stuff already with Tales of the TARDIS, which are indicating they are versions of the bi-regeneration Doctors. And yeah, I don't hate the idea, because I do like it allows us to get past Doctors back more often. I do like that aspect. I just feel like there's other ways to do that, and this idea, like I said, it's I don't hate it, but I don't love it at the same time, and we'll just have to wait and see and how it goes in the future and what it means going forward. But yeah, that's my kind of take on it. I don't hate the idea. I'm not one of these people who are like, canon's destroyed, RIP Doctor Who, or anything like that, because the truth is, in the next episode with Shootigatwa, the bi-regeneration is probably never going to be mentioned again for a long time, because we're going into a new era. There's not really any need to mention it, because we're going to be focused on Shootigatwa now, and that's the most important thing. And yeah, like I said, it will just depend what happens in the far future, and we will just have to wait and see what Russell and maybe even future showrunners have lined up. We'll have to wait. But yeah, if you enjoyed this video, do give it a thumbs up. It really helps me out. Subscribe for more Doctor videos, of course, coming very soon. And in the comments, don't forget to give me your own thoughts. What do you think of the bi-generation, the bi-regeneration? Do you think it's good for the show? Do you think it's bad for the show? Let me know. And yeah, I will see you all in the next video. Bye for now.